It's 2:34 p.m. on March 17, 2021, and Commander Rafael Mora grips the wheel of his speedboat as it cuts through Caribbean swells at 42 knots. Behind him, 14 more boats spread across the water in a loose V formation. Ahead, somewhere beyond the horizon, sits the USS Gerald R. Ford, 100,000 tons of American naval power. Mora's boat is 25 feet long, fiberglass hull, twin outboard engines, one mounted machine gun, 2 RPG, 7 launchers strapped to the deck. Against the world's most advanced aircraft carrier, it's a suicide weapon. But Caracas has assured him it will work. Tehran did it with speedboats in the Persian Gulf. The Americans hesitate. They negotiate. They don't fire first. Mora believes this. His 60 crew members believe this. They are about to learn how catastrophically wrong they are. All units, maintain formation. Radio silence until we reach 20 miles out. His voice is steady, but his knuckles are white on the throttle. To his left, Lieutenant Santos gives him a thumbs up from boat number 2. The kid is 23. This is his first combat operation. Santos thinks they're going to be heroes. He has 11 minutes to live. High above the Caribbean, an E-2D advanced Hawkeye turboprop circles at 25,000 feet. Inside the cramped cabin, Petty Officer Second Class James Chen stares at a radar display that shows everything within 300 miles. Cargo ships, fishing trawlers, a cruise liner heading toward Cozumel, all tagged and identified. Then something new appears. 15 contacts, tight formation, speed, 38 knots, bearing, 185 degrees, heading directly toward the carrier strike group. Chen's finger hovers over the comm button. Could be a fishing fleet, could be smugglers, could be. The contacts accelerate. 40 knots now. Still closing. Chen keys the radio. Strike. Hawkeye 3. Multiple small surface contacts bearing 185. Range 47 miles. Count 15 contacts. Speed 40 knots. Heading directly toward Mother. His voice is professional, but his heart rate kicks up. 15 boats. Direct intercept. This isn't a coincidence. Aboard the USS Gerald R. Ford, Captain Michael Rodriguez is reviewing flight schedules in the Combat Direction Center when Chen's call comes through. The room goes silent. Rodriguez has commanded carriers for 22 years. He's never fired on another nation's vessels. But he's drilled this scenario 57 times. Classification. His voice cuts through the silence. Unknown nationality. No IFF. No radio contact. Direct intercept course toward the strike group. Rodriguez looks at the tactical display. 15 boats. 47 miles out. At current speed, they'll reach missile range in, he does the math, 38 minutes. 38 minutes to figure out if this is a mistake or an attack. Sound General Quarters. Alert all escorts. Get me Southcom on secure line. And launch the ready CAP, full combat load. The alarm shrieks through the ship. 5,000 sailors sprint to battle stations. Watertight doors slam shut throughout the vessel. The Ford transitions from routine operations to war in under 3 minutes. On the flight deck, 2F divided by a -18E Super Hornets sit on catapults, already armed. Lieutenant Commander Sarah Chen, no relation to the Hawkeye operator, races through her pre-flight. She's flown combat missions over Syria and Iraq. She's never engaged surface targets. Her weapons officer's voice crackles in her helmet. Rhino 201, you're carrying 4 AMRAAMs, 2 Sidewinders, and a full gun load. If these are friendlies, do not engage. If hostile, you are cleared to fire. Copy that. She signals the deck crew. The catapult fires. 200 feet of track. 0 to 165 miles per hour in 2 seconds. Her body slams back into the seat. Then she's airborne, wingman launching 10 seconds behind her. Hawkeye 3, Rhino, 201 flight airborne. Give me vectors to contact. Rhino 201, contacts now at 43 miles. Still closing. No deviation. Speed holding at 40 knots. Chen banks south and pushes the throttle forward. At 450 knots, she'll intercept in under 6 minutes. Mora checks his GPS. 43 miles to target. His radio crackles. Lieutenant Reyes from Boat 7. Commander, shouldn't we have heard something by now? Warnings. Radio contact. Mora hesitates. The plan called for the Americans to hail them, to warn them off, to give them the opening to scatter and attack from multiple angles. But there's been nothing. Just empty radio silence and the roar of engines. Maintain course. They're tracking us. They're deciding what to do. He sounds more confident than he feels. Behind him, Boat 15. Crewed by conscripts from Maracaibo who were told this was a training exercise, trails the formation. Their engine is coughing. They're falling behind. It will save their lives. At 41 miles out, Mora sees them. 2 gray shapes against the blue sky. Low and fast. American jets. Aircraft. Bearing 350. His crew swivels the machine gun uselessly. It has a range of 1,500 meters. The jets are 4 miles away and closing at 7 miles per minute. Chen drops to 2,000 feet and gets visual confirmation. 15 speedboats. Men in military fatigues. Machine guns mounted on several boats. One has what looks like rocket launchers. Hawkeye, Rhino, 201. Visual confirmation. 15 boats, armed personnel. Possible RPGs. They're not turning back. Rhino, 201. Make warning passes. Attempt to deter. If they continue, you are cleared hot. Chen takes a breath. Copy that. Going in. She rolls inverted, pulls hard, and screams over the lead boat at 400 knots, 50 feet above the water. The sonic pressure wave hits like a physical blow. Mora's boat rocks violently. Spray explodes upward, drenching everyone on deck. The roar is so loud Mora feels it in his chest. For 3 seconds, he can't hear anything. Can't think. Just raw, overwhelming power passing overhead. Santos' voice crackles over the radio, panicked. Commander! We need to turn back. They're warning us. Mora's pride overrides his survival instinct. Hold course. They won't shoot. They're trying to scare us off. Chen pulls up and banks around for another pass. Her wingman follows, even lower this time. The jet wash sends 2 boats rocking so hard they nearly capsize. Behind the formation, boats 14 and 15 turn south and accelerate away. Their commanders have seen enough. 13 boats continue north. 38 miles from the carrier. Aboard the Ford, Rodriguez watches the display. 2 contacts peeling off. 13 still coming. Sir, contacts have been warned. They're maintaining course and speed toward the strike group. Rodriguez picks up the radio handset. All units, this is strike actual. Multiple hostile contacts inbound, not responding to warnings. ROE is now weapons free. Engage at maximum effective range. Repeat, weapons free. The order echoes across 5 warships. 4 Arleigh Burke destroyers. 1 Ticonderoga cruiser. All tracking the 13 remaining boats. USS Porter, DDG 78, sits 12 miles south of the Ford. She's been tracking the Venezuelan boats for 8 minutes. Her Mk-45 5-inch gun has had firing solutions locked since minute 3. Strike, Porter. We have 13 targets locked. Request permission to engage. Porter, you are cleared hot. Fire for effect. In the gun mount, Fire Control Man 2nd Class Marcus Wright has never fired at a living target. He's 24. From Ohio. Joined the Navy to pay for college. Now his finger rests on the firing trigger. His chief, a 20-year veteran, puts a hand on his shoulder. Steady, Wright. Do your job. They had their warning. Wright swallows hard. Presses the trigger. The 5-inch gun roars. The shell leaves the barrel at 2,500 feet per second. 70 pounds of high explosive. Flight time. 11 seconds. Mora sees the flash from the American ship. A tiny orange bloom on the horizon. He starts to turn, to shout a warning. The shell hits boat number 3 directly amidships. The boat doesn't sink. It disintegrates. The hull shatters into 1,000 pieces. The fuel tanks detonate. 4 men die instantly, vaporized by the blast. Debris rains down across 200 yards of ocean. Mora stares in horror. Where Santos' boat was, there's just smoke and wreckage. Evasive maneuvers. Scatter. But you can't dodge artillery from 12 miles away. The second shell is already inbound. It hits boat number 4 in the stern. The engines explode in a ball of orange fire. The boat flips completely over. Crew flung into the water. 2 sink immediately, weighted down by gear. 1 surfaces, screaming, arms gone. The third shell hits boat 5. Near miss, lands 10 feet to starboard. But the underwater detonation lifts the entire boat out of the water. It crashes back down, hull cracked open, taking water fast. 3 boats destroyed in 20 seconds. 10 remain, 34 miles from the carrier. Over the radio, chaos. Screaming. Static. Panicked voices talking over each other. Can't see anything, smoke everywhere. Engines are gone, we're sinking. Help US, please, we need. Mora's training takes over. All units, split up. Attack from multiple directions. It's our only chance. The 10 boats scatter. 5 peel east. 5 go west. Hoping to overwhelm the American targeting systems. It's a sound tactic. Against a normal navy, it might work. Against a carrier strike group with Aegis combat systems and networked radar, it's suicide in a different formation. Chen watches the boats scatter on her tactical display. Each one shows up as a bright red diamond. The computer has already calculated intercept courses for all 10. Hawkeye, Rhino, 201. Contacts are scattering. Multiple vectors. Engaging. Rhino, 201. Weapons free. Clear to engage. She rolls hard left, pulls 6 GS. Her G-suit inflates, squeezing her legs to keep blood in her brain, and locks her gun sight on boats 6 and 7 racing east. At 1,200 yards, she squeezes the trigger. The M61A2 Vulcan cannon spins up and roars. 6,000 rounds per minute. 100 rounds per second. Each 20mm shell is high explosive incendiary. The stream of fire is visible. Tracers every 5th round glowing orange. It walks across the water like a living thing. Then it finds boat 6. The fiberglass hull comes apart like paper. Rounds punch through the deck, the crew, the engines. In 1 second, 60 rounds hit the boat. It doesn't catch fire. It doesn't sink slowly. It simply ceases to exist as a functional object. Chen pulls up, banks right. Her wingman, Rhino, 202, is already rolling in on boat 7. His burst is shorter, more precise. Catches the boat at the waterline. The hull cracks open. Water floods in. The boat lists, capsizes, sinks in under 15 seconds. Splash 2. 8 remaining. Porter is still firing. The 5-inch gun can fire 20 rounds per minute. Every 3 seconds, another 70-pound shell screams downrange. Boat 8. Direct hit. Center mass. Explosion visible from the ford 15 miles away. Boat 9. Near miss, but close enough. The shockwave staves in the hull. The boat floods and goes down stern first, sailors diving into the water. 6 boats left. 28 miles from the carrier. USS Winston Churchill, DDG-81, has been waiting on the western picket. The 5 boats that scattered toward her are in her engagement zone now. Strike, Churchill. We have 5 targets at 26 miles. Engaging with guns. Her Mk-45 opens fire. Modern naval gunnery is computer-controlled. Radar tracking. Ballistic computer. Fire control system. The gun doesn't miss. Boat 10. Hit. Destroyed. Boat 11. Hit. Burning wreck. Boat 12. Near miss. The crew tries to turn back south. Too late. Second shell hits directly. Nothing survives. 3 boats left. And they're running. Mora's boat is one of them. He's abandoned the attack. Throttle full open, racing south, back toward Venezuela. His radio is screaming with voices of dying men. Water's coming in. I can't find Sergeant Ruiz. Oh God, please. He's crying. Not from fear. From shame. He led these men here. Believed the briefings. Believed the Americans would hesitate. They didn't hesitate. They killed with surgical precision and zero mercy. At 23 miles from the ford, Churchill's 5-inch gun finds his boat. The shell hits the water 3 feet from his starboard side. The detonation lifts the entire boat into the air. It crashes down sideways. The impact shatters Mora's left leg. He goes into the water screaming. 2 boats left. Still running. Boats 13 and 14, racing south at maximum speed. Chen's Hornet rolls in from above. She's down to 300 rounds. Enough for 2 bursts. She takes boat 13 first. 2-second burst. The tracers lance down from the sky like the finger of God. The boat explodes. Fuel. Ammunition. Bodies. Rhino, 202 takes 14. Same result. All contacts destroyed. Repeat, all 15 Venezuelan boats destroyed. The radio frequency goes silent. Time elapsed since first shot. 11 minutes, 47 seconds. Venezuelan boats destroyed. 15. American casualties. 0. 30 minutes later, MH-60S Seahawk helicopters arrive over the debris field. The scene is apocalyptic. Burning oil slicks. Shattered fiberglass. Bodies floating face down. A few men clinging to debris, some waving frantically, some too injured to move. Rescue swimmer aviation warfare systems operator 2nd Class David Torres drops into the water. He's been trained for this. But training doesn't prepare you for pulling burned men from wreckage while their friends sink 10 feet away. He reaches Mora first. The commander is in shock, barely conscious, left leg shattered, swallowing water. I got you, buddy. Stay with me. You're gonna be okay. Mora's eyes focus. He sees the American flag patch on Torres' wetsuit. Starts crying. We were just, they told us you wouldn't shoot. Torres doesn't respond. Just hooks the rescue collar around Mora and signals the helicopter. The winch lifts them both out of the Caribbean. By the time the helicopters finish, they've recovered 23 survivors. Some with shrapnel wounds. Some with burns. Some with blast injuries. 3 die on the flight to the Ford's medical bay. 23 survivors out of 60 crew members. 63% casualties. The rest are below the surface now, sinking slowly in the wreckage of boats that were never meant to fight a superpower. In the Ford's Combat Direction Center, Rodriguez watches the survivor count update. 23. Then 20. The number keeps dropping as medics work. His executive officer approaches. Captain, Southcom wants a full after-action report within 2 hours. CNN is already running the story. Venezuelan government is calling it a massacre. Rodriguez's jaw tightens. Massacre. We gave them warning passes. We gave them chances to turn back. They kept coming at a U.S. carrier strike group with armed boats. I know, sir. But that's how Caracas is spinning it. Rodriguez turns back to the tactical display. The 15 red diamonds are gone now, replaced by small icons marking debris fields. Log everything. Gun camera footage. Radar tracks. Radio transmissions. Timeline showing we followed ROE to the letter. And prepare a statement. U.S. forces acted in self-defense against hostile vessels that refused to halt despite repeated warnings. We regret the loss of life, but will not hesitate to defend our ships and sailors. He pauses. And someone tell medical to do everything they can for the survivors. I don't want a single one dying from lack of care. Aye, sir. Rodriguez stares at the screen for a long moment. What the hell were they thinking? 8 hours later, President Nicolas Maduro appears on Venezuelan state television. Behind him, portraits of Bolivar and Chavez. His expression is fury. Today, the American empire showed its true face. Venezuelan naval personnel, on a routine patrol protecting our sovereign waters, were massacred by U.S. forces without provocation. 15 boats. 60 brave men. Most of them dead. This is an act of war. He pounds the podium. But Venezuela will not be intimidated. We will not bow to the empire. The martyrs of March 17th will be remembered as heroes who stood against imperialism. The broadcast cuts to slow-motion footage of burning boats, footage suspiciously well edited for something that supposedly just happened. The survivors, watching from hospital beds on the ford, know the truth. They weren't on a routine patrol. They were sent to attack. And they were lied to about what would happen. One of them, Ensign Castillo, age 21, both legs broken, asks the Navy corpsman treating him, "Are you going to kill us? Now that we're prisoners?" The corpsman looks confused. "Kill you? Man, we just spent 6 hours in surgery saving your legs. You're not prisoners. You're patients. And when you're stable, you're going home." Castillo starts crying. "They told us. They said Americans execute prisoners." The corpsman shakes his head sadly. "Nah, man. We're just sailors like you. We were doing our job. You were doing yours. We're sorry it went down like this." Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin stands at a Pentagon podium, reporters shouting questions. "Mr. Secretary, Venezuela is calling this a war crime. What's your response?" Austin's voice is measured but firm. On March 17th, 15 Venezuelan naval vessels approached the USS Gerald R. Ford carrier strike group in international waters. They were detected at 47 miles. They were visually warned by U.S. aircraft making low passes. They did not respond to radio hails. They did not alter course. They continued approaching at high speed. He pauses. At 38 miles, under rules of engagement and the inherent right of self-defense, U.S. forces engaged. The Venezuelan vessels were destroyed. We have recovered 20 survivors. They are receiving excellent medical care and will be repatriated once stable. Sir, critics say the response was disproportionate. Disproportionate. Austin's eyes harden. After the USS Cole bombing in 2000, U.S. Navy policy is clear. Unidentified vessels approaching warships at high speed after warnings are treated as hostile. Those rules exist because 17 American sailors died when we hesitated. We don't hesitate anymore. Another reporter, what message does this send to other nations? Austin leans forward slightly. The message is simple. U.S. Navy vessels operate in international waters under international law. We will defend ourselves. We prefer not to, but we absolutely will if forced to. Any nation considering similar actions should study what happened on March 17th very carefully. In a hospital in Valencia, Venezuela, Commander Rafael Mora sits in a wheelchair, left leg amputated below the knee. A government investigator sits across from him. "Commander Mora, you understand you're being investigated for failure to follow orders?" Mora laughs bitterly. "Failure to follow orders? I followed them exactly. Approach the carrier. Force it to withdraw. Those were the orders. The orders were to conduct a defensive patrol." Don't. Mora's voice is hard. Don't rewrite it. I was there. I know what we were told. And I know what happened. The investigator shifts uncomfortably. "What do you think happened, Commander?" Mora stares out the window. "We believed our own propaganda. We thought the Americans would negotiate, would hesitate, would worry about international opinion." He turns back. They didn't worry about anything except defending their ship. And they did it in 11 minutes. You sound like you admire them. I respect them. There's a difference. Mora's jaw tightens. They did their job. They warned us. We ignored it. That's on us. On the people who sent us out there with bad intelligence and worse planning. Those are dangerous words, Commander. I'm a one-legged officer who'll never command again. What else can they take from me? Mora laughs darkly. You want to know what I learned? Small navies don't attack superpower fleets. That's not courage. That's suicide. And 60 men died because someone in Caracas needed a propaganda victory more than they needed us alive. The investigator closes his notebook. This interview is over. After he leaves, Mora sits alone. He thinks about Santos, about Reyes, about all the men who aren't coming home. And he thinks about the American rescue swimmer who pulled him from the water, who could have left him to drown, who didn't. That's what haunts him most. Not that the Americans killed him, but that they saved him afterward. Today, the USS Gerald R. Ford continues her patrols. Caribbean, Mediterranean, Indo-Pacific. Wherever American interests require 100,000 tons of diplomacy backed by 75 aircraft. In the Combat Direction Center, a new crop of sailors monitors radar displays. Most weren't serving on March 17, 2021. But they know the story. Everyone in the fleet knows the story. Contacts bearing 185, range 47 miles. The watch officer looks up sharply, checks the display. 3 boats. Fishing trawlers. Speed, 8 knots. No intercept course. He relaxes. Log it. Continue monitoring. But for just a second, he remembered. 15 boats. 11 minutes. 0 mercy. The Venezuelan Navy hasn't approached a U.S. carrier since. Neither has anyone else. Because they all learned the same lesson. You can hate American power. You can resent it. You can speak against it. But you don't attack it. Not unless you're ready for what happens next. And on March 17, 2021, Venezuela found out what happens next. 15 boats sailed north. None came back.